So if you can, if you're online, just go ahead and mute your mics.
Stephanie still joining.
We don't have a policy, but I'll pass these around, get where we want to be.
Thank you.
Did it say recording?
You're good.
All right. Well, it is 6 o'clock. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we will start with roll call.
Julie Saul.
Christopher Webb. Michael Cornelia. And online.
Can you hear us, Stephanie?
And we do have Stephanie present online. Hopefully she can confirm.
And Robin will not be attending this meeting. She's tending to family matters in Arizona.
And she is excused for this meeting. At this time, are there any conflicts of interest before we proceed with this meeting?
We need to make sure Stephanie can hear, so.
Okay.
Is there any way you can chat with her or? No?
Just muted. Here's somebody. You can hear her, I think. Maybe she's on just audio.
No one is safe in California or Los Angeles. These loyal liberals are seeing.
Oh, we turned chat off.
Her cell phone number.
I wonder if this connected, just not with the mic right
Either
now.
way, we do still have a quorum. So
We have 3 present, so there is a quorum. And again, Stephanie, if you can hear us, go ahead and let us know, hopefully, get that mic connected. Again, are there any conflicts of interest before we proceed with the meeting?
No.
No, I don't have any. All right, at this time, we're gonna do general public input. We're limited to 20 minutes, 5 minutes per speaker. Please state your name and address before speaking. In the event any individual or organization would like an item on the agenda for board consideration, please contact the staff the Thursday before the meeting. The president will ask for public comment on specific items that appear on the agenda after board discussion, staff input, and before board action. In general, responses to questions regarding the agenda items can be more efficiently answered if provided in advance to staff via the district manager. So any general public input at this time? Sir?
Jim Moore,
Mhm.
700 Forest Lakes Drive. And I am here to present a recommendation that I think you guys have considered before. Parking is an issue for Forest Lakes in general. My understanding from Cowboy Towing is that conversations have happened about towing related to violating parking on the road when there's snow plowing. And I know that was some time ago, but when I was doing my homework on how this might be accomplished, he said that he's had conversations with you before. My contact was Dusty, but I assume there's somebody else involved with the district. We're plagued with parking on Service Road in the area that says no overnight parking behind our house, which immediately overlooks the spot. This Christmas, we got to enjoy the presence of a semi that arrived before Christmas and stayed until New Year's Eve, running all the time. Either the engine was running or he had a furnace unit, much like in an RV, running nonstop. And, was it like a Harley? No, but could hear it in our bedroom, which is directly at the back of the house, overlooking that spot. Enforcement of parking is not your job, at least not on a superficial basis. Deputy sheriffs aren't gonna come and issue tickets, that's not their job. There's no police force per se that patrols this area and would issue parking tickets and enforce parking signs. But the concept of having, parking, restriction signs and a threat of being towed is a common practice. All the hotels in Durango use it. It's a regular deal. And Cowboy Towing has expressed to me, they've expressed interest in actually engaging with the neighborhood and performing that service. And it's tricky. But I would be thrilled to be one of the guys who runs down and hangs a sticker on the window of a car notifying them that they're parked illegally, and the time elapses and they either get towed or they move. You know, they come to their car and they go, holy crap, I don't want to be towed. This guy, they boot him. You know, they're not going to tow a semi away, but they would put a boot on and he'd have to go down and get the boot released by paying basically an impound fee or tow fee, the equivalent. So that's my proposal, is that this be raised again and that you consider it, and that I'll add, in my fondest dreams, what do I really want? Put boulders along that informal parking area and close it off just as you did that little short crossover. Just block it off. There's plenty of parking up the hill where the school buses operate and near the mail kiosk and so forth. There's lots and lots of wide open parking there. Parenthetically, I see regularly violators of the signs that are there. There are RVs that stay there for days. You know, it's not an RV park. It's not a place to put your broken down old junk car. It's not a place to set up your car for sale and leave it for days. You want to put it there during the day, bring it home at night, terrific. But the big problem is that Forest Lakes entrance, Alpine Forest Drive, and Service Road have become a truck stop. And they've become a truck turnaround. There's a continuous flow of semis that know that they can come and do a UE. And you figure out where you could do a UE anywhere else on 501. They can come and do a UE, come in Alpine Forest Drive, cut across the bus stop driveway, and come back down. This happens several times a day. Can't do anything about that, but this long-term parking could be resolved. My favorite response would be the boulders, but Cowboy Towing is eager for the business if you guys want to engage them. And
Have we, to kind of add to this, have we thought about that space when it comes to potential paving? Has that been?
It's not gonna be paved.
No, I know, and that's what I'm asking is when, if and when anything moves forward, would that be closed off if that was paved to a one-way? Have we even thought about
I
that?
haven't even thought about it.
Okay.
That's a good thought, though.
wholeheartedly support the paving idea, by the way.
No, and
Actually, right
again,
now-
no final decisions have been made for anybody listening. Just asking if that was considered during any estimates or anything for that little
No,
space.
that wasn't considered at all.
I do like the fact of what you said, because I've thought about it myself, having a no tow, towing, you're gonna be towed, no parking. And I have seen that black truck down there a lot. I don't
And
go that way a whole bunch, so I don't see everything.
we
that you
do have a policy in place, and currently right now, Daryl will go out and or one of the members of his crew will go out and tag it. But we still have to call the sheriffs and then the sheriff will come out and tag it and. Well, I think their time frame 72 hours if it hasn't been moved, right, Daryl, 72 hours?
And that is a rotational service, so we don't rely
Yeah,
on
correct.
just one company.
And you can't park down there for 24 hours or less for, like, during the daytime.
No overnight parking.
Yeah, no overnight parking.
And
So
that's
if you
the
have to
case
like
in-
move a car, you know, a lot of people have, or working class people around here.
But
that
people don't, and that,
That,
have, you know, in winter time, you're getting into driveways,
You're gonna say something, Daryl?
but yeah.
yeah, that driver is a resident. He was home for Christmas. He asked if he could park there. As far as I know, every time I went by, I never heard the truck running, but I'm not saying it wasn't.
I have a video on my phone.
okay. Well, I think to help alleviate that problem with this particular resident, maybe we could park them, up by the, mail stop like we do with some of the other construction equipment that. When they come and ask if they can park there for a couple days. And I'll keep the semi trucks from right there. In the meantime.
Great.
But I do agree with, Mr. Moore. I do think we need you'll be towed, after, or a towaway zone or something like that, because there are a lot of people. There have been people up there from Vallecito or somewhere else putting wood to sell. I mean, there's been a lot of different things. A boat was there forever.
Yeah, just my opinion, I mean, that was pretty ridiculous. That truck was parked there for that long, but I mean, I understand,
There's more to this, these are technically county roads.
right?
The county's given us permission to maintain the roads. I've been working with, Lieutenant Webb at the sheriff's office to try to give us the authority to tow vehicles, and, the sheriff doesn't want to go down that route. The sheriff wants to keep control over who's being towed and who's not.
Interesting.
That's why everything's going through the sheriff's department.
I did not know that, I thought, yeah.
But that's not road. That's
They,
our
they
property.
won't tow off private property.
So we could, I mean, when and if we pave, that may be the option of doing, his suggestion is blocking that off, so it's no longer usable. Because
I'm
there
fine
are,
with
there are a lot of
Whatever.
other places to park.
Board wants it blocked off, we'll block it off.
Or if you just park by the mail stop, I mean, that'd be 100% improvement to me, but. I mean, up, you know, at the end of where the emergency
Yeah.
snow parking is.
Not in the school drop off and pick up.
I mean, as long as there's not snow in there. Or if it snows and you guys gotta clear it out, you gotta move.
When we worked on the tow policy this time last year, we did talk to several independent tow companies to hopefully engage them to do our tows as Mr. Moore suggested. What they told us is that it would be at our expense, the district's expense, and then we would have to recoup the cost from residents. So I think because some sort of law has changed, there's red tape of some sort where tow companies, if they tow a car and the car is never came and picked up, they're having to jump through more hoops to recoup their cost. So if I remember correctly, all the companies that we talked to said, sure, we'll do that, but that'll be at your cost in the district to recoup their cost. And that's why we kind of decided, let's engage the sheriff's department, which is really what they wanted us doing. And they made that perfectly clear then too, when we had those discussions.
So right now, there is an established policy. We do have Daryl on board with notifying, placing a sign on the vehicle. After that, contact the sheriff. The sheriff sends it out to a tow company if it comes to that. And potentially what I'm hearing is that maybe if that situation occurs again, we move it towards the post office for now. Sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think there may be some future discussion, you know, if of course, about the entrance in total, but possibly including that during this discussion. Sound good?
Yep.
Are there any other,
Thank you.
any other questions or general public input at this time? In person, online?
I have a quick question if no one else has one. It's Patrick Yankee. We have a lot at 986 Alpine Forest, and we've been looking into what home to build on that lot eventually. And I have a question I'm hoping to crowdsource to both the board and maybe any longtime residents listening in. I noticed that in the building permit requirements for the municipality of Bayfield, which yes is not Forest Lakes, but for Bayfield, they require a roof with a wind speed rating of 110 miles per hour. And that kind of surprised me. Um, is has there ever been winds of, up to, hurricane strength and beyond in Forest Lakes or in the area? Or is there, is this a phenomenon that happens, and how often does it happen? What's the strongest wind gust that we know of in Forest Lakes?
I mean, I've seen 100-mile-an-hour winds in Colorado, in the mountains in Colorado, so with the weather.
Yeah, I know in the front range, yeah, sure, like, further east and towards Denver. I was just in Denver a couple of days ago and it was very windy. But in Forest Lakes, does it ever get that?
We
Oh.
we do get strong winds, but I don't know that anybody's actually measured them, Patrick. I know that there have been winds strong enough to take pro panel off of my house.
Okay, is there any kind of a weather station in Forest Lakes? Is there an archive of weather that we could look back and see?
That does the weather for Forest Lakes? He would probably be able to answer or find answers for that. Kevin H on the Facebook has the weather here in Forest Lakes and in this area. Colorado, these mountain areas are known for really high winds, and it really depends on where the storm's coming in. You may think you're safe, but the wrong storm comes in and that wind is brutal.
And not to cut you off, but for as far as the building code goes, I would be looking at the county's building code. Not the town of Bayfield, because the county's gonna be the one that comes out and does your home inspection and all that good jazz and approve your building plans for out here.
Yeah, no, I have been talking to them. I stopped in their office the last time I was up there. So yeah, I know them. And I know that what Bayfield's rules don't apply in this case, but I was just really surprised at that recommendation. So all right, I'll look further into the historical weather. It's a significant difference in cost. But if it's once every 10 years, but that 10 years takes your roof off, then it's better safe than sorry. All right, I was just hoping if someone had experience with real strong winds, but it looks like people kind of heard of it, but it's not recently.
Patrick, I had one thing for you. I actually have a little at-home weather station, and there is like it's on the ambient weather network, and I think you can look it up online, and there's a few other people that have them in the neighborhood. And you might be able to like access some data for like the wind speeds if their weather station has is hooked up to the network, then you can look at it. But just a thought. So it's ambient weather network.
Yeah, okay, no, I know them. Yeah, okay, I'll take a look. I was just curious.
Not that it's like anything official, just some backyard weather stations, but you might be able to find out some wind speeds.
Okay, great. Thanks for your help.
Any other general public input at this time? No hands raised. Okay. So I think we're gonna go ahead and tonight we need to add an agenda item. We're gonna make a correction and add resolution 2025-03 to tonight's agenda. Everybody have a copy of that?
Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
If not,
Yes.
thank you, Stephanie. Welcome. All right. Can I get I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
This is Julie. I make a motion to approve the agenda
This is Stephanie. I'll second.
With the addition of,
with the addition of resolution 2025-03.
I'll second that too.
Stephanie seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
No opposed? Okay. All right, and then, we're gonna move on to number 2, approval of the minutes and department reports.
This is Julie. I, motion to approve the minutes from December.
This is Chris, I second the motion minutes from number to approve.
All in favor?
I,
No opposed? All right, so we're gonna start with Corey tonight, the manager's report.
my report's in the packet, I just wanna touch on a few things, data safe. We are done with the setup, the server is fully running, and we are now, migrating everything off the Google Drive onto the server. So we'll be completely secure on that front. We'll go into this in a little bit more depth with the resolution that just got added to the packet. The way things have been written, we've been having to pay to, maintain people's sewer service lines. So like if they flush a bunch of flushable wipes that, aren't flushable, clog up their sewer line, we've been footing the bill to have their lines staked. And so part of that is, with this resolution, we're amending some of the language in the district rules and regs stating that the homeowner owns the service line from their house all the way to the tab, to include the tab. Now, if the backup happens in our main and causes their line to be plugged up, then they can request reimbursement. And then, the budget and all that stuff's been submitted to DOA. They accepted everything, first time go.
Excellent.
And then, continuing working on updating the policies, and slowly but surely, it is time consuming. And then, I had a meeting with the county commissioners and Jim Davis and their superintendent of public works about the entrance paving. They are going to do the paving. All they want from us is to purchase the asphalt at their cost. They're willing to do the line striping. We just have to finish them the line striping plan and then, the signage.
Line striping on our side?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And
And
then
signage.
if we get them the signs we need, they have a sign shop, and Jim Davis said they would be willing to furnish us some signs.
Okay.
We just would have to install them.
And we still have support from the sheriff's office
Yes,
for traffic control.
yes.
How many linear feet from the 501?
It's 60 feet.
60 feet.
We can go more
Right.
if we want
right.
to
No,
buy
that's
more
great.
material. But really, all we're trying to do is
What you
address
budgeted
the,
for,
we budgeted 20 grand,
right.
which is more than enough. And then what else? That's
But
about,
this would clear us with that county concerning that matter.
yes, it would
You
fix
know, dark
the,
clouds hanging over our head.
not with the front entrance.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then in Colorado Trust Fund, we have 1.5 million. We earned $6,600 in interest. And then the community banks, this is old. At the time of the report, we had 162,000 in there. As of earlier, we're down to 73,000.
73, I believe.
down to 73?
after the check run.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Question, the DOT compliant,
yeah,
what is that?
so we're required, because we have commercial vehicles, we're required to carry a DOT number and do annual DOT inspections and all that. To my knowledge, we haven't renewed our DOT number since 2016. And yeah, we're lucky we didn't cause an accident or get into a fatality situation, because the Forest Lakes probably wouldn't exist anymore.
It's the yearly compliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daryl took the head on that, got our DOT number renewed and all that good jazz, and we're getting the DOT numbers put on the trucks.
Okay. And then from now on, will he be in charge, that manager will be in charge of that, the roads? Or is that under you, or
It
just to
had,
maintain, sorry, it's just like that.
we haven't, Daryl and I haven't hashed out who's gonna really take the head front on it. Right now, Daryl's taking it, but I'll probably take it over to lessen his load. But Daryl and I still need to discuss
So that's on all the equipment and trucks and everything,
commercial vehicles.
commercial.
That touches
So-
the road.
So, like my pickup truck, that's not a commercial vehicle, so that doesn't need a DOT number. I'm not hauling a trailer, I'm not going over cross lines to pick up pipe or whatever. The 550s will need it, the dump trucks, the plow trucks. Those are the things that don't need the DOT number.
Okay.
Or any truck,
Water truck.
any truck that's pulling a trailer that will exceed 16,000 pounds or 16,000 pounds will have to have the DOT number. Combined weight.
You also have in here the park committee.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
We had our, first meeting, it went very well, I think, kind of got an idea of where we're going right now. I am ready to get a quote from Groundwork Studio that will, build us a park master plan and a conceptual plan of what we kind of want to see with our parks and recreation. Once I get the quote from them, I'm gonna spit a application or a conceptual letter to GoCo, because GoCo offers a grant for that. I believe it's called planning and something other.
So I have a question, because in our policies and procedures, it says that you have to have an RFP, 3 quotes. And invitation to bid for 5K to 50K for comparative pricing.
That's a grant though, right?
I'm applying for, I just need a quote right now to apply for the grant.
Got it.
So I have a dollar amount of, hey, this is what we're applying for, I need this much. I'm asking for this much, we're gonna match it with this if it requires matching funds. And then when we get to that stage of actually going out to building a master planner, we'll go out for the RFP.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I do like the fact that you're doing an HR audit also. I think that's really good.
That needs to happen.
Good to go?
Just got more questions?
Did you do the water and sewer taps?
Oh, so the water and sewer taps, currently, Mark and his crew do all the excavation in the right of way. This is one of the few places that still do that, and I wanna lessen the burden on our crew. And instead of us digging the trench and doing the backfill and eating the cost of that, because our tap fees don't cover the excavation and the backfill, they barely cover the parts. Everyone that wants to build a house here is gonna be, their contractor will be responsible for coordinating with Mark and Daryl to excavate the road. And then our crews will come out and install install the taps and run the service lines to the property line, and then
And you guys will be there while they're doing that, or how does that work? Cause now you're saying they're gonna dig on the road, into the road, I guess, as well?
Gonna happen like it does everywhere else.
Or is it just, you guys dig it like from the road in? like
They're gonna
that?
dig it.
Okay.
They'll be responsible for all the excavation.
So it's exactly like
And
Black Hills Energy.
It'd be like Black Hills, City of Durango, Mancus,
When
Bayfield.
you guys like sign off on the backfill and all that,
Yes.
yeah, I was like, we have them.
So- Mark and Daryl will have to, go out and inspect, okay, you bedded it properly, but the contractor can take a picture. Here's the bedding. Here's the backfill. And it is written, if we want to require it or ask for it, we can ask for a compacting test.
You guys just show up with the trench and put in the manhole, the water meter and everything, right?
Yes.
And
And then they
So
back,
we establish location, right? Before anything's touched through,
yep.
through Mark
It'll be a pre-construction meeting where
and the
the
contractor.
contractor, and I think we're gonna start requiring the homeowner be a part of that too, because the contractor and the homeowner don't always seem to be, communicating.
Mhm. And the contractor bears responsibility for any damage,
Any damage.
They'll have to
and
be
you come
licensed.
back and check before it's filled. Or connect it, right? And sign off on the backfill for the contractor.
Yeah, for the bedding of the pipe and all that stuff, and then the top layer of the road, will need to be
To our standard,
up to their.
It'll be to our standard. We have a whole,
just exactly like Black Hills, any other contractor would have to do.
absolute.
Yeah.
And then that frees Marco from having to.
Yeah.
Sit there and dig a hole for 2 days.
I won't lie to you, it's a little spooky.
Yeah, no, for sure. But then it's, the responsibility's on the homeowner and contractor at that point. Cause they want the service.
Well, like you said, though, Mark, yeah, making sure to bedding and all that, yeah, obviously, A little scary, but it's spooky out there.
Okay, without any further questions for Corey, we're gonna go ahead and go to Shauna for the admin report. The director of the admin report.
All right, so I'll touch on some of the big things. We wrapped up the renewals for workman's compensation and property and liability this month. We sent out 9 notifications on the website. I attended a webinar on DEO training and election deadlines. Barb and I both attended a webinar for end of the year procedures inside of Cassell. We had 404 paperless customers this month, 137 subscribers, so we gained about 12 this month. 462 auto pay customers. We sent out 8 friendly reminders and collected on 7. The 8th one, vacant property that nothing's built there and the water's been off. So that's why we only collected on 8. We sent out 35 friendly reminders and we mailed 801 utility bills this month. Oh, and we got the totals, figured the totals for vendors and issued 1099s and W-2s as well.
Shauna, can you elaborate on the DEO training and deadlines?
Yes, ma'am. So I attended a training through SBA, and it pretty much was just a general training the first time, kind of talking about what it would look like to have an audit, the election, the deadlines that you have to meet, what your first steps are, sort of that sort of stuff. I have attended all of the DEO trainings in the past, but I've always just kind of been the fill-in DEO. This time I'll be taking the reins. So it's really important that I kind of understand that sort of stuff and, what to do and when to do it and all of that.
When does it start?
The first deadline is January 26th, and that's when we'll do the call for nominations. And that's really the kickoff point of the May 6th election.
How are we gonna get that information out to all the residents?
So we're required to post it in our hosting place. We're required to post it in 1 or 2 runnings of the local newspaper. And that's really all that we do, and post it on the website, of course, which is an official posting. And then it'll just be kind of word of mouth, like, hey, we're looking for call to nominations, all of those sorts of things. We'll have 3 spots to fill. The election will continue if we get more than 3 people who want to run. If we get 3 or less, then it'll be appointing someone.
Okay.
So
Oh, you're-
I did learn from last go round, we jumped the gun a little bit on printing ballots. Because we printed ballots and then we didn't even have an election, so that was just wasted money.
Mhm.
So I learned that lesson last year. We have a printer who their turnaround time is really quick, and we have a super straightforward ballot. We don't do anything fancy. It's not super complicated. So I now know, don't print ballots until it's time for ballots. So,
Do they have to be a certain way, or can it be just a piece of paper here, a copy?
so there has to be a couple of different stubs on it just for counting of things.
Mm.
So there is some perforation that has to be made that we don't have the capability in the office to do. But like I said, we do have a really reliable printer.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions for me?
I had a quick one, so we had 12 new is that like 12 new homes?
No, 12 new subscribers. So on the website, you
Oh,
know
the
how you can
subscribers, sorry.
subscribe to the
I got you,
notifications.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and did you ever figure out any of the unique web visits? Were you able to?
No, I get it from Google, but I haven't been able to, like, we get analytics from Google every month that go to our website directly from Google. But when I asked, Civic Plus, they told me they would have to speak to someone else, and they have, like, further up in the chain. And they haven't got back with me, but I have some things to talk to them about, so I will definitely, I'll ask them again.
Or the website, like, can the website people put like a tracker on it, like unique visit tracker?
We get it from Google, we get analytics from Google, but I don't feel like those are only people that, visit it from our Google listing. So,
And I used to do a website for a company I was at, and it can be good and it can be bad. I mean, I don't know how many times I go into our website just.
I was
for
about
me.
to say, even
Right.
So-
Barb and Corey and I go in and
Yeah.
access things from the website frequently, so.
So it may not be a true, real reading of what you're probably looking for.
That was it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I can tell you, I probably go out there 30 times a month, so.
I see
Multiply that
See,
times
that's
these
good to
guys
know.
too.
I see that we have a question in the public.
Does this pertain to Shauna, what she just brought up? Or is this? I can't see the
George.
name. George, do you have your hand up for a reason?
Unmute.
Just a high five. We'll take it as a high five, and right now we'll go on to Director of Water and Wastewater, Mark, please.
Things seem pretty normal, 4 million gallons of drinking water roughly, 2.25 treated wastewater. With regards to the wastewater, we're at that time of the year again where the ammonia process has broken down or is breaking down. I expect us probably to fail our ammonia on this particular test that we just did. Or if not, for sure on the next one, I can see it coming through the process, so it's on its way. Don't be surprised if next meeting having here something that was very scary from the state. We were able to complete some outlying, maintenance with greasing, motors and some stuff in our booster stations and whatnot. And, getting some heat turned on to some of these places. We did, get the wells drilled for our monitoring wells. So at this point, we have, the ability to sample. I do have a well pump that I need to put together so we can actually draw water out of those wells and see what we see down there in those particular spots, get some data from them. Let's see. With that. Yeah, we do have a potential new hire. We'll know more this week. To replace, the person that left. And that's in process, not a done deal, but it is in process. And most everything else you guys just sit on this, we get some questions.
Glad to see that is it GPS or GPR?
GPS.
GPS. Glad
Yeah.
to see that you're moving forward with that.
That was one that, as it turns out, is probably gonna be a really, really good thing in the long run for us to have, because it's gonna take some time to get to learn it. SGM is on board with, we pay for some training, and they're gonna set stuff up for us. And then come out and show us how to use the equipment. This will probably happen in the spring sometime. I'm not exactly sure the timing of it, but that's kind of where it's at right now. So,
One step closer to having a electronic map.
which is good.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be a long process. It's not gonna be something that happens in 1 year. It's really, the reality is that if we want to put that valve there, we might have to scratch the corner almost of every place that there is a valve. And that takes time. And once we find it, then we can put it right on it. We just think that we found it, it could be a nail down there or something, you know, so.
Uncover the sins of the past.
Yeah.
Is the fire hydrant on Elkin Loop, is there another fire hydrant in the area to pick up?
Yeah,
that
there's
area?
one on the intersection above that, and there's also one on the intersection below that.
Okay,
Um,
no concerns.
no, I don't believe that there is, because they use tenders anyway, and then they use the hydrant to refill trucks.
Okay.
So they could go to either intersection.
And what we're gonna do, and the reason why we're waiting, we're not fixing it in the winter, is we're gonna actually push it for 8 feet further.
Yeah, at least, we want to get it, as you guys well know, some of them are sticking out into the corners. Well, if it gets hit, then we might as well, when we fix it, extend it back out of the roadway.
Yep.
So that's kind of the plan for that one.
Was that a known accident or just a hit and run type of deal, or?
Hit and run type of deal.
Okay.
We don't really,
Okay.
we have a feeling we know who did it, but
And
can't
that-
really prove it.
And that,
Just
what
wondering
about the
for
one that's
insurance.
down there by the community center that was run over?
That needs to be completely replaced with different hydrant. The fire department can't use those.
Will you move it back too? Because it seems like it's pretty close to the road.
We'll have to discuss that. That's one of the original, well, I guess you would call it fire hydrant back then, it's called a steamer in our book, but. I don't know that that has the same capacity as a better line from the main to the hydrant. That may not have sufficient capacity for a hydrant. So in that case, it would be something that we may just remove.
Okay.
Generators, looking good?
Oh, forgot about the camera.
We looked at them at the trash there.
The big one's set down there. We did run into a snafu with conductor size and having an additional ATS that goes over to make the disconnect from the power. That's been ordered. It'll be here. I don't have an exact date, but with talking with Alan from A&J Electric, we're tentatively scheduling a startup the middle of March for that one. And then hopefully, between then and the middle of June, we'll have the 2 pads poured at the booster stations that are up on the hill. And those will get set, and they're tentatively scheduled for a startup situation the middle of June.
And just quickly, can you expand what they're for, just real quickly for the public? We got some new.
Yeah, so currently we don't have the power to supply our booster stations or our well field completely if we did have some sort of power outage. When these are installed, they're gonna work as backup power should. If the power goes off, they will sense that, they will kick on, they will start running and supply power to the well field and the shop and our lift station down there, which is really important. And then if we are needing to move water up the hill, we now have the ability to do that even during a power outage to get it to the top tank of our system.
Cause you said without the generators, we had what, 3 days of water?
Well, it depends on if we can get everybody to comply with a decreased use, but I wouldn't say 3 days, I would say 2.5-ish if that happens.
And it depends, if it's like an emergency, if we got a fire going on and FPA killed the power because of the fire.
Yeah.
That 2 days is 30 minutes.
Right, if they open up and use that water, then that's a significant bigger draw than just, usage from our residents.
It's gonna allow us to keep water flowing. As long as they keep diesel on it.
The best that we can do.
And that's why I asked, because of the situation in California, like without power, we still have the ability to pump water to our tanks. Yeah, as long as fuel or diesel lasts, right?
We can refill them.
Right, that would be another thing that would have to be discussed with the sheriff and the first responding units, on, hey man, these guys are taking fuel up there, you need to let them through, or you're gonna be without whatever water they can provide.
So these are all just safety nets that we're
Yes.
establishing.
Even without a fire though, I know we've had some power outages here around here that lasted a couple days. My in-laws that live on the east side of Simpatico were without power for 4.5 days.
Robin said something about 7 or 8 days of.
So
way
it does
back.
happen.
Yeah.
Even if there's not a major threat like a fire.
Yeah.
But, so that would enable us then to keep doing what we do.
Absolutely.
So.
Any questions? Okay. All right, we're gonna go to the director of Ron. Daryl.
Unmute yourself.
Daryl, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Now we.
Yeah.
We purchased
Yeah.
Christmas lights and displayed. What?
No, little delay, sorry, go ahead.
We purchased Christmas lights and displayed them around the mail stop and offices. We fabricated the mail, continued repairing potholes around the district. We've had to take off the radiator off of 2 plow trucks now, and looking like we're going to be taking off another radiator off of another truck pretty soon. I don't know what's going on with the radiators. I mean, other than they're 50-year-old trucks, 40-year-old trucks. We installed new kick plates down at the trash to ensure people cannot slide in between the dumpsters. We also had to replace a water pump on plow truck 3. We rented a roller for a week to grade around, try to fix around the loop, grade around the loop. And then we did the hot cocoa at the mail stop and cookies. That was pretty cool. Had a great time doing that. We helped the water department on East Pine Top. Some of the guys did with the leak. We also installed a plow monitoring device at the top of the mountain to be able to monitor snow in the middle of the night. And all service trucks are in good operational, fully operational and in good shape. The plow trucks are operational. 2 plow wings are down. Like I said, we just found out we had another radiator leak, so one of those are back down. All the equipment is in good operation, good condition and operational, and we've had 0 accidents reported in December. Any questions?
Glad you could attend this meeting tonight, Daryl.
I'm sorry?
We're glad you could attend this meeting given today's incident. Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Any questions for Daryl?
No, I bet you're happy there's been no snow since all these plow trucks have needed so much work, right?
Yeah. It's been, every time we take the trucks out, they go down, but that's nothing new for us. We're pretty much used to that. We did take the plow trucks out. We did plow one time. We've chipped a couple times since then. But yeah, mostly we just had to plow the top section of the mountain. The rest of the mountain was in pretty good shape. We did chip that same day that we plowed the top.
Hi, this is Denise Newman from 753 Forest Lakes Drive. I just want to give a shout out to Forest Lakes Metro District for all the stuff that they do to maintain our roads. I think you guys do an amazing job, and I wanted to give you a thank you.
I got a great crew. Thank you.
I had one quick thing for you, Daryl. It's more of just an observation at down at the trash at the dumpsters. And I'm not trying to nitpick the work you guys did down there. It looks great. The only thing, I went down there once and there was a little snow, and it looks like you got like a capstone on that retaining wall that's got like a slope on it.
You put a kick plate.
Yeah, and I was just saying that concrete kind of sloped, and I was walking up there and it was pretty slippery. I don't know if it was just because there was snow on it and it's at an angle. I know it's not going to be easy to make it 100%. Like, obviously we're in the mountains and there's snow and ice.
We typically plow it first thing in the morning when we go and open the lids. We'll run a shovel down it, and then we usually throw some. If it's bad, if we got a lot of snow, then we usually throw a little bit of de-icer on there. But also, I think the problem is coming from when people walk onto it. There's a lot of snow that comes off the bottom of their shoes and is getting piled up around there. I noticed that the other day after we cleaned it.
Maybe some sand or something down there, sand bucket. Just do like concrete ledge or something. Just because if you go there when it's you know what I'm talking about though, it's got like an angle and it's a little.
They're on aisle shirt or something out to try to make it a little better.
I'm just thinking of older people, slipping on ice or something. Don't want anybody to get hurt, but it's great though. Thank you guys. It's awesome down there.
That's part of the reason why we put that kick plate there, is to help keep people from losing their footing going the other way.
And that was my one. I did have one last observation, and I didn't know. So you have a piece of angle, and it's like angled towards, like as you're walking towards the dumpster. It almost seemed like it would make, just my 2 cents. It seemed like it would make a little more sense if it was angled. That right angle was the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just the way they sit on top of things.
Yeah, it's almost like clumsy for me when I walk up to it, but I have feet, so.
Learn to walk.
Yeah, the only flat ones that they had available were They had lift eyes located all the way down them, so we would have had to cut all those off. And there's no telling if we would have been left little sharp edges on the ends of those or anything like that that could have cut people or something like that. So I opted for the smooth ones with no lift eyes, and unfortunately, they were just a little rounded.
I think we look at it with that. No, it's great though. We do appreciate it down there. I know all the residents have a lot of compliments every time I'm down there randomly.
I have a question for you,
Thank you.
Carol.
Yep.
And Corey. Wondering, because you do use the oil, and I've seen people leaving boxes of oil down there, if we could have a sign made up that says oil, use motor oil, and what type of oil you do take, and have them leave it there. Because I know you didn't want to use the barrel, but at least maybe people who don't know could potentially leak some more for you. To just have that.
Can I put it over? Can I put it over by the shop entrance instead of by the trash, so we don't have more trash accumulating again?
You probably have to have some kind of lining and all that jazz, right? When you got like a.
You'll have to have some
chemical,
type of,
basically.
containment area, but.
Didn't Daryl bring it up that it had to be turned into an employee to avoid contaminated oil?
Yeah, because of the water in it.
Water.
Yeah, and just having people like set it off to the side, I don't think is a good idea, because then they're gonna get contaminated oil that they can't even use. And now we have to dispose of it.
Be responsible and just.
Am I right,
get it off
Daryl?
yourself, right?
Correct.
Take it to AutoZone or wherever they do the recycling, Walmart.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we can make a sign that says we take used oil,
Right.
used vegetable oil.
Because you can burn it in the shop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We can make
Yeah,
that
that's-
sign, but.
Yeah, that's all I was saying is, can we put it down there by the entrance of the shop so that they continue to put it there? Because most people do. The older people, the people that have been in the district long enough know to put it down there by the entrance of our shop, and that would keep clutter from being around the mail stop and turning into
Yeah.
what it used to be.
The trash area.
The trash area.
The trash bag, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Been working on the mill stop a lot.
Thank you. Were you guys able to get the last of the lights off the mail stop?
We haven't got them off yet. I keep forgetting to bring my ladder from the house. The ladders that we have are pretty flimsy, so we've been using my ladder. We will get it down.
Sounds like we need to buy a ladder.
Oh, I said it.
Yeah, we really should have one on Forest Lakes property, because we don't want you liable bringing your ladder.
We have ladders, but yeah, no sturdy ladders for big guys.
Anything else for Daryl? Move on.
Nope.
All right, we got agenda item number 3, the financial action agenda. 2024 disbursements.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the check of December 1st through December 31st in the amount of $250,000, excuse me. $250,384.43.
This is Stephanie. I'll second.
This is Chris Webb.
Yeah, second from Stephanie and Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, number 4, we'll be discussing trash can to recycling.
Yeah.
You doing good?
I'm gonna stand up so I can see Daryl. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, how's it going, Jack?
Hey, doing awesome,
Yep.
thanks.
I was going to try to be there. Sorry, I wasn't able to make it.
Well, I'll have to get filled in on that. Whatever.
good to see everybody again. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year's. And I'm glad to hear the dumpster placement and the dock you put in down there is working well, sounds like. All going well?
Yeah,
Good. When we were here in the fall, I want to also introduce my son Trey, by the way. Yeah, he just finished. I picked him up at our yard. When we met here last fall, we were just moving all of our operations to the Bayfield yard. We've got that complete. And at that meeting also, one of the residents brought up the question of recycling. We can get back in there. The property that we had a recycling business on it that's no longer there. We purchased much of that equipment and now we are starting to move into the recycling. I alluded to that a little bit at the meeting last fall. And we'd like to open the discussion with how we could help you on this as well. Just as the collection center with the dumpsters was new for us when we first did that with you. So is the recycling. So we'd like to kind of design it around what you'd like to see and get some feedback. But we are up and running, our employees in place, the baler's running, the trucks are running. My son and I have made the mission statement of Trash Panda being repurpose, recycle, and reduce. Is what we're trying to do. It astounded us the amount of perfectly good stuff we haul at the landfill. Will blow your mind. That this is getting dumped into the landfill and there's nothing wrong with it. From sets of golf clubs that we've got a brand new, one of the laser leveler things in the box, never been opened. 11 sheets of what is it? Not quite 3/4 inch plywood. Never had a nail in it. 13 sheets of that stuff just dumped the other day. It's awful what we put in here. Our selfish reason of wanting to recycle, repurpose is it's less trips to the landfill for us. We don't know how to price the recycling. So one of the things we'd like to do is kind of an experimental basis, see how we could maybe set this thing up, do a study for a little while, find out if people just want a single stream drop location where they just dump all the recyclables, or if they'd be open to possibly separating some of it. There's not much money to be had in recycling. In fact, glass, the city of Durango loses about $130 a ton on glass. They tried to get us to haul the glass to Golden. I guess Coors recycles a lot of it. And it's a flat $130 per ton loss. If we take single stream and we don't sort it here, and we take it to Crouch Mesa, it costs us $150 a ton to take it there. So part of the challenge we have is trying to separate this stuff because that's the labor intensive part, is actually separating the plastics, the paper, the film, the cardboard, and glass and aluminum and metal. So it would be an interesting experiment to see if folks really wanted it, how badly they wanted it, if we could maybe have receptacles that are separated where people could put their cardboard. Cardboard's really the one that we probably can make the most money on.
You probably get the most cardboard from this neighborhood.
Yeah, well, we noticed that in the dumpsters we haul.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cardboard in there. Okay, but again, after it's been compacted into those dumpsters, it gets contaminated. You know, when a trash bag breaks and food contents gets all over the cardboard, then the cardboard is not recyclable anymore. So I think it would help us as well if we could get that rerouted from going into those dumpsters into a separate dumpster, and then we could pull it and rebale it, and then potentially sell that cardboard to help offset some of the cost. But Daryl, I'm just, what are you guys thinking? What, have you explored recycling before, and how do you do it?
I know there's been multiple people at the meetings asking about recycling, wanting recycling, and we kind of, these guys have, we had what we had, or have what we have, which is improving rapidly, it seems like, so good, thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
One of the things that we had looked at before was, you know, how would it be for all residents, and do residents who want to recycle have to pay for it, and they have a fob or something like that to put it in a dumpster? There's been a whole slew of conversations, and we don't want people leaving things outside a dumpster that might be locked because, oh, well, I'm not going to pay for this, but I'll put it over here. somebody will pick it up.
Right.
And then that's Daryl and his team that have to do that.
And see, if we're gonna charge for it, we'd have to make it like everything else.
Yeah,
I think.
It's
people
either
would pay
all in
for
or
it. I mean,
not
I
at
know-
all.
I'm sure people would pay for the service.
I guess one of my questions would be, 'cause I don't really want glass being thrown all over the place, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. Could we just do aluminum cans, cardboard and stuff like that, or
Trey, I don't,
kind of,
something that we were thinking maybe is, as I mentioned, cardboard is the easiest for us to handle, and the return is a little bit better on the cardboard. Is perhaps just having maybe two dumpsters, one for cardboard and the other for everything else.
except
Perhaps.
glass.
Well, even glass. I mean, people are gonna put glass in it, like you
Yeah.
said. And I mean, it's just something that, it's one of those lost things that, what we separate, glass is a loser. But the cardboard helps offset the glass, you know, so, if we could, probably, my thinking on it is if we could have two receptacles, one for the cardboard, because that is the easiest. And it takes up the most room in the dumpster, so if we have a dedicated cardboard with the cover on it, keep it dry. The plastics, the glass and all that stuff, it doesn't matter if it gets wet or mixed or whatever, then we would separate that out.
Wouldn't the
So-
glass break though?
It does, but it breaks as soon as we put it in the trucks anyway. It breaks up. Mhm. We're looking at some of the pulverizers on glass. You can get closer to making it make a bit of a profit if you could get it closer to its end state, rather than sending the bulk glass to Golden, if we could grind it here. Again, it's kind of an experiment, see if we can get enough glass. Again, not doing this before, I don't know if we're talking about enough glass to where it would justify, a $25,000 grinder. To put it, you can take it all the way down to sand, basically. Various screens that you can put on it and take it all the way down.
my next question, with it being an experiment, what kind of cost are we looking at?
I'd like to maybe do like a 90-day where there's no cost. Just so we can get a feel for how dedicated the residents are and do it, and then we could revisit it again. And I believe in transparency, we can show you kind of what it just needs to work for us, as long as it's not a money pit. And then if we can, and we'll brainstorm and see what the residents do and make it work. It's hard to calculate rather than actual adding to our revenue stream, if it just reduces right now, our landfill tipping costs run almost 50% of our revenue. So if we can keep that from going to the landfill, out of 10 dumpsters, if we can reduce it down, well, it saves us one trip to the landfill out of every 10. I'm just throwing numbers out. So that's a hard number to quantify on what it is. So I'd like to just try it. And then we can revisit it at that point.
I think in the past, one of the concerns is managing the dumpsters that were there and having a person there to manage it, as opposed to Daryl's crew. So that's, you guys are pretty responsive, I will say that. So I don't know how that looks for everybody, but, they were talking about previously doing it on weekends mostly too, but if something's there at 30 normal hours, it's probably more likely to accumulate more
Yeah.
than just on a Saturday.
Well, and ironically, even collecting that kind of shoots ourselves in the foot, that may slow down on the dumpsters that you need. Do we really? No, I think it's a win-win.
What size dumpsters are we looking at?
I'd probably talk, and the smallest we have right now are 20 cubic yards. But if this starts working, we'd probably shrink them down. We did have some 10 and 12 yard dumpsters, but the hooking system on our trucks required us to adjust them every time we did. Our new trucks have hydraulic adjustments, but we've already discarded those small dumpsters. We sold them. But 20 yards is probably a little big. It may not be for the cardboard. But we'd have on the cardboard, probably have lids like you were talking about, that just have a slot, which will kind of encourage everybody to flatten the cardboard. Because that's the only way it's gonna go in that fail slot.
Yeah.
And the various recyclables would have initially probably open top. If it works well, then I'll go ahead and order the dumpsters that have the sliding doors, you know, where they just slide them sideways. And get
Yeah.
stuff in.
Yeah.
But if it's not gonna work, I hate to buy the dumpsters.
Like two, one for the.
220s, one for cardboard, one for everything else.
And you have to figure out where to put those, right somewhere. I mean,
Well, we could
where,
put-
what would you, or yeah, what would we?
Well, I think it makes sense somewhere in the circle over there around the
Yeah, we
dumpsters where they come in for
Kind
their
of put 'em
garbage.
where the old dumpsters were, but kind of where the generator was sitting, we could kind of probably push it back a little bit.
And if we do go to those with the lids, the sides are much lower. There'd be no need for any,
Those sound nice.
yeah, I guess they're
Sliding
less
door.
than 4 feet, and then the top slopes on them and the doors just slide back and forth. So there's no need for any elevation or steps. or
If
anything.
that was the main thing, we're fighting was the trash, right? Those guys were spending all that time picking the trash up off our property and neighbor's property.
Yeah,
Correct.
So how would the residents know that those are recycle bins? Would you have signs on
right,
them?
The sun's already, we're gonna have the same receptacles on our property there, you know, between Gym Village and Bayfield, where people can drive up and he's already ordered all the decals for them, you know, for cardboard. We're gonna try to see if they'll really break it down, you know, cardboard, glass, we're gonna see if that works. That would be awesome. if it did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that personally. It's enough for me to recycle, it's going in one, but,
If the board decided to, play along with this experiment and get a shot, how soon do you think you get the dumpsters here?
in the next week or two, I suppose, if we wanna do it. This is a good time for us, because we actually have some dumpsters that are, you know, in the yard now, as you see when you drive by. So,
My recommendation is, if it's not gonna cost us anything, I think it'd be worth trying to see what kind of turnout we get and then we could sit down and figure out, okay, it's costing you this much, it's gonna end up costing Forest Lakes this much, and then.
And it just seems like it's gonna be one of those, I mean, instead of
Yeah.
fobs and someone paying, it seems like it's something that everybody.
The one-
Figure
the
out
one
what it
cost-
would be for a year so we can know what it's gonna affect people's bills.
The one caveat to this is not gonna be a budgeted expense if we decide to go for it this year. So that would be it'd be a public hearing and
Cause we're gonna have to pay.
we'd be
for it.
changing rates, so even if this
I think people are gonna.
works out, it's
I
gonna
think people are gonna.
be
want
2-3
this
months before we can even actually
in Here.
start the program.
But I think if it gives them answers and gets some more firm numbers for you guys and firm numbers for the residents. Like I came from Germany, which is forced recycling, separate bins. To Fort Carson, where you willingly drive to the recycling location if you wanted to. And separate it yourself, which a lot of people do once they're educated. And when you look at the reduction in waste of what we would be hauling as a community. Like, I think that's a good idea
And if you
to get on board with a trial period for sure.
And if we could if you could like, how much, we're saving, taking to the dump so people can see, well, maybe your trash rate will go down. And we'll have a recycling.
I think the
don't know if that's possible.
education component is very important, as you were mentioning, because people think, well, I can pitch that pizza box in there, it's cardboard, but that contaminates the load. And when people understand that we actually have to touch all that to separate all this stuff, and if you contaminate it, instead of getting $80 for that bale of cardboard that's contaminated, we get 40. So it helps everybody. This is not something that Trash Pan is gonna make a lot of money on, by any means, in hard dollars, but if it can, we truly want to reduce the stuff that goes to these landfills. It's terrible what we throw away. And there's a big part of it we want to actually do in the repurposing. We're gearing up to that where we pull this good stuff that we have and we either resell it, put it in a resale store or kind of a Dutch auction type thing online or something, because it's a shame, the stuff that.
So is this a discussion item? Is this something we,
He's gonna do that, Jimmy.
Corey?
Jimmy keeps raising his hand.
Is there a question about this discussion? Jimmy, is that right?
I apologize for that. I'm just trying to give you all applause for this conversation. I'm not trying to raise my hand.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Well, I will tell you that on Facebook, there's a lot of people looking for recycling here. A lot of people like myself, we drive it all into Durango. So I think that it would be a good program.
Well, great. And as I mentioned, we will have the facility there at the yard as well. I don't see how you could go, we're digressing a moment ago. I think it'd have to be an open neighborhood. What a mess that'd be to try to figure out if somebody, if you pay or not. I think it just has to be kind of a.
Yeah, it's an all for nothing. I'm not gonna put my staff through. Well, you got recycling.
It's too marginal for that. It's too marginal for that. I think it just has to be.
Then we gotta set up a separate system.
Yeah. And you may get.
Just
new
one thing
people.
One thing I would suggest is, so I think, I can't never remember his company's name, but Antoine was, discussing this the last time he passed out. And as a matter of fact, Sean, they have one down there in the office, but, just to let residents know what they can and can't dump. Cause, like I never knew you couldn't put, food contaminated, cardboard like pizza boxes per se, in the trash or in the recycling. So, maybe something like that would help you out as well, or we could do to help you out or something like that. I'd like to see it going because I've seen lots of residents that want it.
Yeah, I agree. Kudos to this whole conversation.
Contain pictures, any chance?
That's a great idea.
Don't, a pizza box.
I think that's a great idea. I didn't know, I'm like Daryl, I had no idea that pizza box is cardboard. I didn't think about the grease. Contaminating the bale. And they grade every bale that goes in. Receivers, they grade the bale based upon if there's any plastic in that cardboard, boom, it drops the grade. Yeah, so, and it's the same with all the other stuff. If there's the wrong bottles or the wrong plastic in there, it gets degraded. And like I said, it is not a big money maker.
Wasn't the tempered glass what does the
Exact mirror glass can't go in.
glass and
Correct.
all the glass and it's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. So I think education, whether maybe it's something that we could send out via email to everyone. I think the pictures on the dumpster is an awesome idea. Signage, might as well just put it on the dumpsters, of course. So they'd be dedicated dumpsters for you as well. So we don't have to worry about, whoops, that dumpster's gone. So we pull down circulation.
Kind of running over a little time limit here. If you can, give me when you can get us the dumpsters and we'll start working on a public notification.
You got it?
Yeah,
You need to make
get
a
us
motion.
the education.
Okay.
Well, I think
And
right now
material to talk.
we'll fall under the trial period, right?
Yes.
If we move forward with,
There'll be a lot more discussion and a lot more meetings.
yeah,
We're gonna work with you, however it does, but this is learning for us too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Yeah,
good.
Thanks, Jeff.
thank you, Daryl. That it, guys?
That's it.
All right.
You just said thank
Nothing
you.
from Stephanie?
No.
Okay. We will move forward and we appreciate you coming and talking.
I'll be in
to us.
touch and let you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very exciting. Thank you. All right. Now we're gonna move forward with public posting place, resolution 2025-1.
Well, this is one of the first resolutions you need to do for the year to designate our posting place for the agenda.
Pop in and storm over.
One, the website and the other one's the bulletin board at the post office. And that's that.
Question? Has legal reviewed it?
Yeah, what was that?
Has legal reviewed the
Okay.
resolutions?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions about this?
This is
Stephanie, do you have any questions about this?
Nope. No, it looks good to me. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and so, go ahead if there's a motion on 2025-1.
This is Christopher Webb. I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-01, designating the official posting place.
This is Julie, I second.
All right, all those in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, all in favor. All right, next one is appointing DEO, resolution 2025-2.
Yeah, this is the resolution naming Shauna Johnson as our DEO, our designated election official. And she'll be the one that takes charge of the election.
I have one recommendation. Like you did up here on this particular one. Having a title of what the resolution is, I think would be really good to have, so we don't have to go through and read to see what it is.
I agree with that.
No, I see what you're
Moving
saying.
forward,
I missed that.
unless you wanna reprint it, and then we can sign it later. It's up to you guys.
What was it? What was
Just,
it?
Having a
this one has
title.
a title.
So
Oh,
you can make the motion to approving the sign of resolution with the
Title.
Title correction.
title correction.
This is Julie. I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-02. Appointing the designated DEO, designated election official resolution with the change, adding the title.
this is Chris. I second that motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
It won't like that one that gets
Stephanie's
printed.
aye, and all in favor.
I don't know why it does that.
Okay. Now we are gonna go to the Deering agreement action.
Okay, the daring agreement for the EVAC road, all the recommendations that you guys wanted to see in the contract during our executive session. They're both parties are have agreed, it's ready to be signed and it just need your, vote to sign it and get it going.
Wow.
And a common check for
Good job.
their lawyer fees,
I
not,
see-
not to exceed 3,500.
Yeah, I see that, he wants it renewed every year. Is that the
He,
way I read it?
he wants the contract reviewed or the agreement reviewed once a year,
Once a
every
year.
year.
But it
that's-
automatically,
It'll automatically go, but we'll have to, you know, review it and sign it again.
cool.
Oh, when was that? When do you renew it?
It'll be yearly.
Yeah,
It'll
it
be
says
one of those-
it's through December 31st, 2025, so it's gotta be around then that we renew.
And for the public, it is the emergency access license agreement. That's a part of this packet. All lawyers have agreed upon everything. And
Well, this is Julie,
is there a motion for this one?
is there?
I don't,
Is it not on the,
I don't have that.
you got it.
Which one is it for?
For D.
Yeah. Yes, 40, yeah, that's on.
Okay. I make this is Julie, I make a motion for 4D to approve the Deering access agreement for the EVAC road.
This is Chris. I second that motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
didn't know this was
All in favor. Well, that
Good
is,
job, Corey.
that is
Thanks for
good to
doing
have
that.
that resolved.
Yeah.
That agreement in place.
Like I didn't like Guy.
yeah, well,
we walked down
Obviously like
there,
you.
we walked down there and it doesn't look like it's gonna need a whole lot of,
it doesn't need a whole lot.
yeah,
Um,
just rock.
I would urge you not to walk on his property without coming to me and getting permission first, because that will
Yeah, but you check.
severely create
Yeah.
problems.
So this is emergency access, purely emergency access only. There's an agreement in place now, so we appreciate it, Corey. We will move on to, please help me with pronouncing that.
The best I can figure, it's Raftilus.
Raptilus rate study.
So this is not a budgeted item. We can you could table it or deny it. Well, I reached out to these guys. These are the ones that did our last rate study. And we're nearing the end of this rate study. They gave us a quote for 12,000 and some change that would be split between the water and sewer fund. If we still wanted to proceed with this, this would be a budget amendment that would need to happen. It's not dire that it happens this year, but we'd definitely be looking at getting it done next year.
I think we need to get the rate study done this year, in my opinion, because every year the board just kind of does whatever, and the old information was not good, and I think we need some good concrete information.
And I agree. I think the last rate study was done on bad information, and that's where we ended up with the sewer fund being where it was at. I think having a more updated rate study done with accurate information, and now that everything's actually broken out versus all being lumped together, this rate study will really come in and, hey, you could probably lower this rate, or you need to look at doing on 5%, 3%, 2%.
Yeah, we can approve it now. I'm ready to approve it right now, but I mean, unless you guys wanna see what Robin's still here. So.
Yeah, but I do have a question, because what I had brought up before about the RFPs, don't we need to get an RFP for this?
Yes, we'll have to get request for, not RFP, this would be an RFQ request for a quote.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
point.
kind of the same.
See if you could get two more.
It says 3, you're supposed to get 3.
Well, that would be with that one, right? 3 with theirs.
The one thing I will say though, it is nice using someone that's already familiar with our stuff. Because they're already spun up on what our operations are and whatnot versus what's going with a new guy, and then or a new firm, and then you're having to try to explain what they did in the past, which I can't do. I can't explain to why they were budgeting things the way they were. So
Isn't our RFPs just for construction only?
no, you can request RFPs for like. if
No,
there
I
was-
mean, our procurement policy having to have 3 only pertains to construction, correct? Is what it is in the policy?
I'd have to reread it. I don't know it off the top of my head.
For some reason, I thought it was everything that we were paying, gonna pay for. But
I know when it comes to construction, we're required to at least get 3 quotes or formalized quotes. When it comes to contracts,
I thought it was 60,000 or more.
Well, maybe something maybe along those lines.
But
It
I
might-
could be
yeah, I think you're
misspeaking.
right.
There's been a lot
I
of
think you're right,
changes,
it might have
so-
been, it was a certain number.
Well, I thought so.
Section 4 is where I read it, paragraph E. So in the procedures manual.
One is in the SDA too. Also, I think is what I'm thinking of.
60,000 rings about
Yeah.
special district unit. Special districts,
Yeah.
for like
It's under,
purchasing
yeah.
things like equipment. Stuff like that. And the rate study. I can tell you, I can use another person. I can use another person.
Yeah, see, there you go.
market,
And so you had three interviews?
It was in the policies and procedures.
Right, but I'm talking about as a crew,
Alright,
Another employee in general,
Yeah.
besides the vacancy.
so
Right.
5,000 to 50,000
bring like.
comparative pricing or RFP, so we don't have more bid.
Yeah.
If it's greater than 50,000, we have to go through the whole competitive bid process. No matter what,
We do need at least
Which one do you
one
want in?
more.
the procurement policy.
Well, hold on, go down, go back. Where you were. You got paragraph 5, purchasing and authority process. This is, I was reading something completely different. Are you in the policies and procedures?
Addendum number 2 procurement policy that goes with that.
So that is probably different than the addendum.
Yeah, the addendum is changing what's in this. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You did an addendum.
So how is
to-
everybody supposed to know that? Looking at that. Cause I went to that. Rather than the addendum number 2.
What does it say in the original? In the one that she was speaking about?
I think we just lost Zoom.
I'm
not gonna be able to do both. My
I'm
my
still
computer's not
on.
working very. Can you, are we still up and running?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just my computer. What's that?
Section 4, methods and procedures. For source selection.
Am I missing something here?
No,
Section 4,
methods and procedures for source selection. We can try to district wide, it's gotta be up there. Well, we don't have to go over it now, cause we don't have to approve this tonight, right?
Yeah, can we maybe just get another
Table it,
price
yeah.
and table it? You have two, because the thing
Okay,
you showed
well,
the
yeah.
competitive pricing, right? What does that mean, just two prices or?
Yeah.
Comparative pricing?
comparative prices,
Sorry,
you
not
will,
competitive,
you
comparative.
receive more than one quote.
Yeah, exactly. And we have one, right?
We have one,
So maybe we'll do another one and table.
but
it for-
if you guys are interested in me pursuing trying to get this done this year, then I will reach out. If we're not interested this year, then I'm not gonna waste my time.
I think, in my opinion, we should try and do this year.
I think
You've
we
got
should
your-
try to do it as
awesome.
well.
You're gonna have some extra budget of things that you didn't spend and you've over budgeted a little bit.
I did reach out to, Steve Ulmer, Plumber Associates, for the first quote, and they said they were too busy to take us on. So I had that email as well. So I'll try to get, I'll try to find another company.
So Stephanie, you're in favor of it this year?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it would,
is.
I think we should be proactive with it and get it done.
So instead of approve or deny, table it to whichever meeting you would like.
The next meeting.
So the rate study discussion, we're gonna table it until next meeting potentially? Okay. All right, then we'll go on to 4F, storage shed quotes. There's discussion about.
This is just really a discussion. You guys approved the purchase of them in the budget. I just wanted to show you guys kind of what we were looking at. I think I'm gonna go with tough shed. The way it's angled is gonna shed the snow away from us, so we don't have to constantly shovel it.
Looks good. That's great.
And it's 12 by, we were gonna go for 12 by 20 at first, but, I didn't wanna have to pull a permit from the county, so we narrowed it down to a 12 by 16.
Oh, yeah, you're right at the.
12 by 16 and change, you can get away with, right?
You live in it. Well, no, you fit, it's a shed.
Well, if you've seen the chaos of our record room, it's not big enough.
Does that give you enough space for
Yes,
storage?
A lot of space.
Yes, it gives us enough space for storage.
So what-
We're still gonna maintain records in here, like the customer files and whatnot, will still remain inside this building, but everything that's a public record.
Well, it looks like you'll have a little money, maybe you could upgrade the locks or something, you know, for security. Maybe that'd be a good thing to, 'cause we had 10,000 budgeted and 8,800.
Is there any like
Cause I know that was,
location that would be
wasn't that one of
included?
your concerns with the documents was the security, right? Maybe like cameras and,
There's a camera right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But we're
Are
gonna
we-
set it right up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, just location where it can be captured by a camera, same thing.
Or if you got money, another camera, if it's documents, I don't know.
Mhm.
You brought up the point about that, so that's one reason I'm thinking, we got a little, you know, if it's affordable.
Everything of, high sensitivity will stay in this building.
And
Will
all,
there be any lighting in there? It doesn't look like it has any illumination.
There'll be lighting in there, there'll be those, I don't know, what do you call those, push ones?
Like a battery
Push 'em, they come
operated
on.
type deal?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
for
use
the time, for the
solar-
time being, and we're gonna actually look at getting
How-
lighting and power ran to it
okay,
in the
great.
future.
Is it going to be insulated or anything, or is it just the building?
It's not, no.
It is not.
And it looks like it's pre-built shelf.
Yes.
Is it better to get shelving that you can adjust, or all the boxes that you're storing the same size?
All the boxes that we store all files in are the banker boxes. So he made sure that the shelves were adequate to store those.
And it'll be built on site.
Yeah,
Does it have shelf, it doesn't show.
It's
shelf
coming
on
with
it.
shelving.
Yeah.
If you look at the,
Plan, or at least one.
if you look at the,
Fourth row down.
Oh, I see, nice.
so it'll be, 3 shelves that will fit the banker boxes. And then we can put additional shelving in the middle to keep our retention schedule.
You guys could add stuff too, or plywood and some 2x4s if you needed to.
If we needed to. I don't assume we are. Pretty sure a lot of stuff that's gonna come up there, that Connex down there is, gonna get purged.
Which was another reason you wanted to do it, right? You could go
It's
through
for our
it.
record retention, 'cause
For
right now,
something like
we have so much stuff that
yeah.
we honestly don't need to have right now that is taking up space.
And if we free up the Connex down over at the shop, that can be used for storage for the Christmas decorations, the Halloween stuff, that sort of
For
stuff.
Daryl, basically, cause wasn't he needing some storage area?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And it doesn't really make any sense that documents are way down there when office staff is way up here. It's hard for Barb and I to keep a retention schedule when we're storing documents way down there. So I think.
Well, it's not even just way down there, there's documents in
Yeah,
that
it's
room, there's
everywhere.
documents in that room, there's.
Well, you guys ready to approve it?
You go back to the Zoom
I,
at the bottom there. Is there anybody hands up?
No,
No, nobody's wanting to discuss any discussion items, agenda item? Okay,
there's no.
Well, Tough Shed is good. We have a Tough Shed and we've been extremely happy with it, so I think that's a good choice.
we
and
pay
this,
cash, so it's not gonna get repoed, right?
oh yeah, you
Tough shit, you know, they are.
this doesn't require a motion or anything, it's just,
Yeah, already approved, meet Shauna's needs. Shauna, you're happy with that
Yeah.
design and access?
Yeah, I liked the first one. I don't know which one, Corey, you like the first one or the second one,
tough shit.
the Dutch shed? So that's the one that doesn't have the double door.
It doesn't have the double door, but it's, the roof slopes the opposite direction, so we're not having a
Shoveling
shelter.
snow.
And
The
it's,
doors
and
are
it's a big
touch
door.
that.
It's not just a little narrow door. It's plenty big enough to
very
carry a
wide.
box in.
Yeah,
Honestly, as long as we can clean the records up, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's got a nice big door on it.
Yeah. So
4x6.
anything is
Single
better
family.
than what we have currently.
And then do
Okay.
you have funds to make a walkway so it's safe for
We're
them
gonna
to
put it right up on the sidewalk.
go on the sidewalk?
Well, not on the sidewalk, we're gonna put it to the
But,
sidewalk.
I was gonna say, don't do that, it's got a hole underneath it.
Maybe we can make
Yeah.
a deal for some ground up glass bottles to make a
Okay.
pretty path.
Excellent.
There you go.
All right. So now we're gonna move to agenda item number 5. Board director reports, request for future agenda items and
Hey,
committees.
hey,
Wait, this
hey,
one.
you forgot the one you had at the beginning.
Oh, okay. That's good, yeah.
The addition.
Okay, so this is where we had the additional resolution. It's 2025-03.
Yeah, and this is amending section 2.20 of the Forest Lakes Metro District Rules and Regulations, changing the definition of the service line. Right now, in the original language, it says Forest Lakes owns half of your everybody's.
No, you don't.
Right now, what's happening is people's service lines are getting plugged up with Barbie dolls, flushable wipes and all that. And we're having to come out and snake it and pay the plumber out of Forest Lakes line for Michael, flushing Miss Barbie down the drain and backing up your sewer. This is just taking out the confusion of who of paying for the plumber and all the way up to the tap to include the tap.
Do you want to just comment on those wipes real quick to the,
They're not
They're not
flushable.
not
They're not flushable, yeah.
they don't disintegrate on contact with water. They're not flushable.
They generally will come out on the cleaner anyway with one hanging there whenever that happens. In our past, what has happened though is it's gotten pushed down to the place where we're responsible for it. And that's what's driving this. right
Okay.
here. The clarification,
Yeah.
so that it's your service line, so.
These are sensitive systems. Neighbors, please, flushable wipes are not flushable.
There's a lot of other things that go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is just making it clear as mud that we're not responsible for the maintenance of your sewer service line. We're responsible for the main.
Paul's okay with this?
Paul's the one that wrote it.
Paul won't read it, so, okay.
Paul thought it was, the day that Corey and I talked to Paul, he was like, it's not like that. He was astonished that we had ever been taking responsibility and paying to clean people's
He wasn't the only one, trust me.
service lines.
Do you have any questions, Stephanie, about this? Do you have a copy of this?
No, I just got it today.
I don't have a copy, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I just got it.
You want me to read you what the wording says rather than the whole thing?
You guys are really cleaning out, because that's
If their sewer line got plugged up
where it went
and
in.
they were saying it was in our right of way, their service line, we were coming out and snaking it or paying a plumber to come snake it.
Generally, there's a clean out right at the property line.
And you were
And
cleaning
from
them
the
out
property
from there
line
to the
main
road.
Is where several problems have happened. Probably because it got pushed out. It was maybe plugged here and then got pushed back into this zone where we're now responsible for it. And that's kind of the way it was.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
only service line that won't be responsible for is the water service line, and that is from the meter or the curb stop to our main, and that's just because that's mandated by the state,
It's just the sewer.
just the sewer.
No?
It wouldn't be there if you didn't want to have a house.
You just wanna read that bottom section real quick, Julie?
Yeah, Stephanie, what it says is, 2.20 sewer service line, any pipe, line, or conduit used to transport sewage from the property to the main collection line. A sewer service line is the property of the homeowner up to and include the tap at the main.
Okay.
Is there any further questions on this resolution?
No.
Okay, I'll need a motion.
This is Julie, 4.J, I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-03, amending section 2.20 of the Forest Lakes Metropolitan District Rules and Regulations. Okay,
This is Chris, I second that motion.
All right, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're all in favor. And now we're gonna go to the board or the reports from the committees, and we'll start with the budget committee.
I have nothing to report on the budget.
Okay. And the recreation committee, I'll speak on, we did have one meeting for the recreation department, as Corey touched on, we are waiting for a quote back. And we will meet again once we receive that quote, and Corey will arrange that meeting. So we're moving forward with that, and it was a great meeting, and we appreciate those who did attend.
I have nothing to report on that.
Okay. Are there any other things that need to be brought up at this time? Corey, board, Stephanie, are you good?
I am good. Nothing new for me.
Okay, and so at 19:45, we will adjourn this meeting.
Good night, everybody.
That is 1945.
Your military time.
Thank you for